The story of modern Hellenism begins with the conquest of Constantinople in 1453 and later Crete in 1669 by the Ottomans. Most of the lands inhabited by the Greeks come under the rule of the Sultan, while regions such as the Ionian Islands remain under Venetian rule. Power is often exercised in a cruel and barbaric way. There is a great deal of pressure to collect taxes for the costly campaigns of the Ottoman army and to meet the needs of central administration. The Romni, the Greek-speaking Christian Orthodox people of the Ottoman Empire, retain their language, religion, customs and traditions. They live mainly in the countryside and less so in the cities. Many become successful merchants and skilled craftsmen. Everyday life is difficult and money is often scarce. They express themselves through popular culture, especially through music, wood carving, decorative metalwork and pottery. This popular art is in many ways conversant with that of the Ottomans, the Jews and the Armenians. Art in the regions that did not experience Ottoman rule, however, is greatly inspired by the West. Despite the distance from Western Europe, the areas lived in by Greek communities are frequently visited by foreign travelers, looking for traces of antiquity, ancient temples, and landscapes that fascinate and inspire them. Their travel experiences are published, and Europeans gradually become better aware of the actuality of modern Greeks, although they often view them as they would figures in folktales rather than real people. The Orthodox Christian religion dominates social life, bringing regulation and offering hope and solace from everyday fears. The Holy Liturgy contributes to the preservation of the Greek language and identity and encourages a certain level of literacy. Throughout this period, goods are transported to and from Europe by Greek ships and caravans. After the 1774 Treaty of Küçük-Kaynarca in particular, Greek maritime activity intensifies and an armed merchant fleet is created under the Russian flag, mainly covering the grain export needs of the Russian Empire, especially from the ports of the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov. Greek merchants begin to establish their trading houses in European cities and ports, where the life of Greek trading communities often begins with the erection of an Orthodox church. The need to staff these trading houses with young, educated and trained Greeks leads to the creation of schools in the merchants' homelands, in villages and towns. This increased trade and level of education means that more Greek books are now produced. These books are aimed at a society partly fascinated by the European Enlightenment and interested to learn about history, geography and the sciences, along with the classical Greek texts, to break free of the ignorance of the past. Greek printing presses appear across Europe, in cities like Vienna, Venice and Amsterdam. Where there are active issues of self-determination, international wars become a critical catalyst for change. Therefore, when Russia once again clashes with the Ottoman Empire in 1768, this triggers uprisings in Greek lands such as the Morea and Crete. The Orlov Revolt in 1770 renews tensions between the Greeks and their suppressors, while its bloody failure ends that cycle of insurrection. Ali Pasha is a fascinating case of a localized Ottoman ruler. Governing the Pashalik of Ioannina for decades, he controls areas to the north and south of Epirus, as well as Rumeli. At his court, young Greeks, Suliotes and Roumeliotes, are trained in the art of war and become acquainted with European diplomacy during a turbulent period when Napoleon's forces have reached the Ionian Sea. Armed groups are also operating in pre-revolutionary Greece. The Armatoli, men-at-arms, and the Klefts, brigands, alternate in these roles and are a dominant presence in mountain regions. Their way of life and activities give rise to legends of valor and gallantry, and many of them will later play leading roles in the War of Independence. Rigas Velestinlis, also known as Phereos, is a key figure in championing the liberation of the Greeks. He envisioned the impossible, a union of all the Balkan peoples, with an identity based on antiquity rather than his own time. He is remembered through history for writing and speaking fearlessly about liberty. The French Revolution is also crucial in igniting the spirit of liberty. The Philiki Eteria, or Society of Friends, gives the Greeks fresh cause for optimism. It acts like a school, organizing training and espionage, but also providing a source of inspiration and courage for those who risk their lives preparing for the Great Revolution in a structured and organized way.